Most people spend their whole lives chasing money, but Henry Ford discovered how to make money chase him. Ford didn't just revolutionize the automobile. He rewrote the rules of wealth, success, and how to build something that lasts. While most people focus on quick wins and easy money, Ford's principles created empires, transformed industries, and still serve as a blueprint for success more than a century later. In this video, I'll reveal the powerful lessons from Ford's life that can help you build wealth, think bigger, and leave an impact that lasts far beyond your own lifetime. These are the strategies most people ignore, but the truly successful never forget. Stick around until the end, and if you find this video useful or inspiring, don't forget to hit the like button. It means a lot and helps more people discover this content. Henry Ford is one of the most famous entrepreneurs in the world. Born in 1863 on his father's farm in Michigan, he started dreaming big as a child. At just 12 years old, after seeing his first locomotive, he decided that one day he would build an engine himself. Ford never forgot that goal. In 1903, he founded the Ford Motor Company and began producing the first Ford automobiles. His hard work paid off. By 1914, there were already more than 10 million Ford cars, about 10% of all the vehicles in the world at that time. Ford revolutionized American industry by launching mass production with a unique strategy: large factories, standardized interchangeable parts, and the moving assembly line. But above all, Ford learned to manage himself. He built extraordinary discipline and productivity into the people he worked with, proving that every great movement starts small but can take someone exactly where they want to go. Up next, we'll explore how to achieve goals of any magnitude. There is no limit to perfection. Instead of chasing a brand new idea every time, it's far more powerful to pour all your energy into perfecting a good idea you already have. That's exactly what Henry Ford did. In his mission to create a car affordable for everyone, Ford searched for ways to make production faster and cheaper. He was the first to put the entire factory on an assembly line, and he spent years perfecting that innovation until it became nearly ideal. Ford believed that work could be simplified through effective management. Making tasks easier meant lowering production costs. That's why he introduced a simple rule: no extra steps, no unnecessary movements. This principle led to the creation of two assembly lines inside the factory, one designed for shorter workers and another for taller workers. The result was revolutionary. Production time dropped from 12 hours to just 2, a six-fold increase in efficiency. Ford's team explored and applied even the smallest improvements if they allowed for producing more and producing faster. For Henry Ford, the true meaning of life was work. He believed that an employer should work harder than their subordinates. In the words of another author, that might sound like a motivational speech about leadership by example. But Ford didn't teach people to be role models. To him, meaningful daily work was simply the safest way to live with dignity. Work was the cornerstone upon which the world rests. Only through work can problems be solved, even global ones. Ford worked tirelessly and demanded the same from others. He spent more time on the factory floor than in his own office. In the early years of the Ford Motor Company, when budgets were tight, he wore many hats at once: director, president, chief engineer, and even designer. For Henry Ford, engaging in unfair competition was a waste of time. He believed that spending energy on attacks, sabotage, or slander against other companies was simply unproductive. To Ford, interfering in other people's business was a crime. If a competitor was doing better, the only legitimate response was to work even harder. Sooner or later, the consumer would notice the difference. In the early years of the Ford Motor Company, unfair competition became a real challenge. Just a few years after its founding, the company was sued by a group of unscrupulous automakers who abused patents to try to eliminate rivals. The patent language was vague and broad; any car could fit the description. While Ford tried to prove the originality of his idea, his opponents spread rumors that Ford owners would be sued, fined, or even jailed. Ford countered with a detailed public statement, assuring buyers that he would protect them from any legal costs. To back this up, he created a $12 million insurance fund. The effect was immediate. Sales doubled, and fewer than 50 people ever needed help from the fund. This lawsuit not only made Ford famous but also reached the Supreme Court, resulting in changes to patent law. The case revealed a pattern that would repeat itself many times in the future. The more successful the Ford Motor Company became, the more negative criticism its founder received. Excess management is worse than no management at all. When too many people work together, the biggest danger is unnecessary bureaucracy. Ford believed there should be no useless paperwork or artificial positions within the factory. Paperwork only created confusion, wasted time, and buried good initiatives. For him, if an employee had suggestions, requests, or complaints, they should go directly to the right manager, instead of exchanging endless memos between departments. Too many titles gave people a sense of status without real responsibility. High-level managers tended to pass tasks down until no one was actually accountable for anything. Ford advocated eliminating privileges and unnecessary roles. Only those required by law or truly essential for operations should exist. He believed direct communication between supervisors and workers solved issues faster and more efficiently, but always about production, never about leisure. Ford did not support the idea of team spirit or turning the factory into a social space. To him, the factory was not a living room. Workers were there to perform their tasks, not to socialize. With 8-hour shifts and several 15-minute breaks, any extra chatting only distracted from both work and rest. In Ford's view, every worker could develop the master within themselves. There were no ready-made solutions or shortcuts. The best employees earned their place through effort and talent. With dedication, anyone could rise through the ranks into management, but they had to start from the bottom. On the assembly line, work was divided into 3 levels: newcomers, trained workers, and the most experienced. From there, a worker could move into more complex production tasks, become a foreman, an assistant manager, or even a general plant manager. This principle came from Ford's experience with outside specialists, who were often hired to give advice but repeatedly declared things to be impossible. By contrast, the craftsmen who had worked their way up from the bottom didn't know the word impossible, and often introduced innovations simply because they didn't know it couldn't be done. There were no artificial barriers to advancement. However, Ford often noted that few people were willing to take the first step. A promotion meant higher pay, but also more work and greater responsibility. According to him, only about 25% of workers wanted to become foremen, and even then, most sought it for the money rather than for career or personal growth. The rest preferred to remain in repetitive assembly line jobs, which weren't too demanding and provided steady employment. Ford dedicated his entire life to producing vehicles accessible to everyone. To make this production successful, he relied on solid principles of work and factory organization. There was even a sign at the factory gate that read, "Remember, God made man without spare parts." He detailed his experiences in the book My Life and Work, which remains a guide for entrepreneurs around the world. Here are some of Henry Ford's secrets to successful production. Continuous improvement was central. Every employee could participate in developing production and suggest ways to make it more efficient. The philosophy was simple: work better than yesterday. Moreover, Ford believed in providing products and services for everyone, globally, always seeking ways to make the impossible possible. Ford also followed the principle that it is better to sell many cars with a small profit than a few cars with a high profit. He categorically refused to accept that anything was impossible. In his view, no one on earth could confidently declare that something couldn't be done in any field. Automating everything that could be automated became a competitive advantage for the company. At Ford's facilities, no material was processed manually, and no process was done without technology. Ford believed that manual processes were never the most efficient or cheapest way to produce. To achieve perfect production, effective management is essential. Henry Ford had very clear principles about this. When hiring employees, he strongly opposed selecting people based solely on competence or previous experience. Ford believed that any capable person would find their proper place through effort and dedication. Everyone started at the bottom rung, with equal opportunities, and growth or promotion depended solely on the willingness to work. Past experience or personal background didn't matter. The only requirement was the willingness to work. Regarding career growth, Ford noted that most workers valued a decent job more than a promotion. The desire to advance was the exception, not the rule. Only about 5% were willing to take on extra responsibility, manage more staff, or oversee salaries. The challenge wasn't finding capable people, but those who genuinely wanted to progress. Ford summarized, "Successful people get ahead while others waste time. And with enthusiasm, you can achieve anything. Passion is the sparkle in the eye, the speed in your walk, the strength in your handshake, the energy and drive to put ideas into action. Enthusiasts are fighters. Enthusiasm is the cornerstone of all progress. He believed that constantly thinking about the future, finding ways to do more, creates a mindset where nothing seems impossible. Regarding saving, Ford said it's easy to take it too far. It's better to teach young people to invest rather than just save. They should invest in themselves to increase their value and usefulness. Only once they reach the top does it make sense to reserve most of their income for future security. To achieve perfect production, effective management is essential. Henry Ford had very clear principles about this. When hiring employees, he strongly opposed selecting people based solely on competence or previous experience. Ford believed that any capable person would find their proper place through effort and dedication. Everyone started at the bottom rung, with equal opportunities, and growth or promotion depended solely on the willingness to work. Past experience or personal background didn't matter. The only requirement was the willingness to work. Regarding career growth, Ford noted that most workers valued a decent job more than a promotion. The desire to advance was the exception, not the rule. Only about 5% were willing to take on extra responsibility, manage more staff, or oversee salaries. The challenge wasn't finding capable people, but those who genuinely wanted to progress. Ford summarized, "Successful people get ahead while others waste time. And with enthusiasm, you can achieve anything. Passion is the sparkle in the eye, the speed in your walk, the strength in your handshake, the energy and drive to put ideas into action." Enthusiasts are fighters. Enthusiasm is the cornerstone of all progress. He believed that constantly thinking about the future, finding ways to do more, creates a mindset where nothing seems impossible. Regarding saving, Ford said it's easy to take it too far. It's better to teach young people to invest rather than just save. They should invest in themselves to increase their value and usefulness. Only once they reach the top does it make sense to reserve most of their income for future security. Number 1. Serve others. A business fully dedicated to service doesn't just focus on profit, it will grow enormously as a result. The secret to success lies in serving others. All successful people provide some kind of service. The greater the success, the greater the impact of the service offered. True wealth is based on service and comes only through service. Ford said, "Wealth, like happiness, is never achieved when pursued directly. It comes as a byproduct of providing a useful service." So the question is, how do you serve? Number 2. Focus. There is no living person who cannot do more than they think they can. Often, you have no idea of your true potential. The problem is that you spread your energy across multiple tasks. You spend 1 hour on one thing, 3 hours on another, and never dedicate full focus to a single activity. When you consistently concentrate your efforts, everything becomes possible. Focus turns limits into opportunities. You can achieve far more than you think. Number 3. Be productive. My observation is that most people get ahead during the time others waste. We all have 24 hours a day, but only a few use that time effectively to achieve success, while many fail. Why does this happen? Because some people control their time, while others let time control them. Some dictate the pace of their day, while others let time decide for them. If you fail, it's because you are wasting your time. If you succeed, it's because you manage your time strategically. Ask yourself, are you a master of your time? Number 4. Solve problems. Most people spend more time and energy avoiding problems than actually solving them. Be sure, there is real reward in solving other people's problems. But can you solve any problem? When you tackle big challenges, you receive big rewards. If you handle small challenges, the reward is small. Solve the problems of only a few people, and the gain is almost negligible. Solve the problems of many people, and you can become truly wealthy. Don't waste time going around problems. Face them. Number 5. Keep learning. Nothing is particularly difficult. Nothing becomes hard when you break it into small tasks. Henry Ford said there are no big problems, only a collection of small ones. When you think this way, you realize that nothing is truly complicated. Climbing a mountain, step by step, isn't as hard as the entire climb seems. Sustainable solutions to big challenges come from a step-by-step approach. Each small step leads to success. Number 6. Keep your eyes on the goal. Obstacles are those scary things you see when you take your eyes off your target. Never take your eyes off your goal. It's what motivates you, what keeps you moving forward despite any challenges. Always visualize who you want to become. Picture your goal as if it has already been achieved. Experience it in your imagination. Feel it as if it were already real. Number 7. Think. Thinking is hard work, which is why so few people actually do it. Through careful thinking, you prepare yourself, uncover small nuances, and organize your plans. Ford said, "All preparation is the secret to success." Thinking requires effort, but those who commit to it prepare themselves for great achievements. Henry Ford remained the technological genius of the automotive industry, becoming an example for anyone who wants to be a winner. If you learned something valuable in this video, don't let it pass. Like, subscribe to the channel, and share this knowledge. Every like is a step toward helping more people discover these powerful lessons of success and wealth. Turn what you've learned into action, apply these strategies, and watch your financial life change. Don't miss out on this journey. Hit that subscribe button now and join the community that thinks big and acts even bigger.